What if the picture-perfect marriage you saw on television was hiding a darkness so profound it would shock the nation? What happens when the family values preacher becomes the scandal's central figure? Welcome back, friends. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of reality TV's most shocking and enduring stories, the complex, controversial, and heartbreaking relationship timeline of Josh and Anna Duggar. This is a tale that spans from a pure, chaperoned courtship to federal courtrooms, a story of public betrayal and private agony. Strap in, because this documentary-style deep dive will connect dots you never saw coming, and the full story is still being written. Don't go anywhere. Our story begins not with drama, but with dogma. In 2006, at a homeschooling convention, Josh Duggar, the eldest son of the famous Duggar clan from TLC's 19 Kids and Counting, met Anna Keller. Their courtship was a model of their conservative Christian principles, chaperoned, intentional, and focused on marriage from day one. It was a fairy tale presented to millions of viewers. Josh proposed on Anna's 20th birthday in June 2008, and by September, they were married in a ceremony that felt like a national event. The early years seemed to follow the script. Their family grew rapidly, Mackenzie in 2009, Michael in 2011, Marcus in 2013. They were a pillar of the Duggar brand. But behind this curated image, a catastrophic secret was already festering. Unknown to the public and, allegedly, to Anna at the time, Josh had a hidden past. In 2015, a police report was revealed showing that as a teenager, Josh had been investigated for molesting 5 underage girls, several of whom were his sisters. The scandal erupted, forcing a tearful public interview and leading to the swift cancellation of 19 Kids and Counting. For Anna, this was her first public earthquake. She stood by her husband, framing it as a past mistake dealt with through faith and forgiveness. The family retreated, but the foundation was irreparably cracked. Just as that storm seemed to settle, a second, more personal tsunami hit. In August 2015, the infamous Ashley Madison data leak exposed Josh Duggar as a subscriber to the infidelity-focused website. This wasn't a teenage error, this was a present-day, active betrayal. Josh released a staggering statement: "I have been the biggest hypocrite ever. I have secretly over the last several years been viewing pornography on the internet, and this became a secret addiction, and I became unfaithful to my wife." The man who preached family values was living a devastating double life. Anna's pain this time was palpable and public. In a later interview, she called it such a betrayal, not just against her, but against those who call themselves Christian. The humiliation was national. Josh entered a 6-month rehab program for his pornography addiction. In a show of almost unimaginable fortitude, or, as critics argued, indoctrination, Anna visited him there and publicly forgave him. By 2016, they announced they were in marriage counseling, working on healing one day at a time. They welcomed another child, Mason, in 2017. To outsiders, it appeared to be a rocky, but ongoing, path to redemption. Then came April 2021. In a cruel twist of timing, Anna joyfully announced on Instagram that they were expecting their 7th child, a baby girl. The post showed them under an umbrella raining pink confetti. Just 5 days later, the illusion was obliterated. Josh Duggar was arrested by federal agents. The charges were unthinkable: receiving and possessing child sexual abuse material. Court documents alleged he had downloaded material depicting the abuse of children under the age of 12. The trial that November was a media circus. Anna was present every day, a silent figure entering and exiting the courthouse beside her husband. The evidence was technical and damning. In December 2021, the jury found Josh guilty on both counts. The judge later sentenced him to 151 months, roughly 12.5 years, in federal prison. Through it all, Anna remained. She gave birth to their 7th child, Madison Lily, just weeks after the guilty verdict. This is where the true documentary mystery begins. The facts of the timeline are clear, but the why behind Anna's steadfast loyalty is the subject of intense debate. The faith lens, from her perspective, rooted in an ultra-conservative ideology: marriage is a covenant before God, for better or for worse. Divorce is often not an option. Her public statements consistently frame their journey through the lens of forgiveness, prayer, and beauty from ashes. The practical trap: with 7 young children and no independent career, her financial and logistical reality is incredibly daunting. The family structure she is part of is her entire support system. The psychological cycle: experts might point to patterns of trauma bonding, where intense periods of pain are intermittently reinforced by promises of change and repentance, creating a powerful, addictive cycle that is hard to break. Her sister-in-law, Jing'er, perhaps summed up the unique horror of their public life. It makes it more challenging because then it's not just dealing with these things inwardly, but you have to give an answer to the world. Anna has had to live her deepest trauma and most controversial decisions on the world stage. So, where does this leave us? The official timeline has a brutal punctuation mark: Josh is incarcerated until at least 2032. But the story is far from over. What is daily life like for Anna and her 7 children now? How are the Duggar siblings navigating this ongoing fallout? What happens when Josh is eventually released? Most pressingly, what do you think? This is where you become part of the documentary. I want to hear your reasoned, respectful analysis in the comments below. Do you see Anna's stance as incredible strength or tragic enablement? How does the pressure of a reality TV persona distort personal crises? Let's have a real discussion. Before you do that, I need you to take 2 simple actions that truly help this channel. First, if this deep dive analysis provided value, if it connected the pieces in a way that made you think, then hit the like button. That single click tells YouTube's algorithm that this is meaningful content, helping us reach more people who appreciate documentary-style storytelling. More importantly, subscribe to the channel. You see, the Josh and Anna Duggar timeline is just one of many tangled, real-life stories we're committed to exploring with depth and nuance. We have deep dives planned on other infamous family sagas, shocking falls from grace, and the complex psychology behind the headlines. By subscribing, you're not just getting notifications, you're joining a community that values looking beyond the clickbait to understand the real human stories. Tap that subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss a single update. And finally, the journey continues right now. The Duggar family saga is interconnected. To fully understand the environment Josh and Anna came from, you need to watch our next video, which is already queued up on screen: The Duggar Dynasty, How TLC Built and Buried America's Favorite Megafamily. It's the essential prequel to everything we discussed today. Click right here or find the link in the description to keep the story going. Thank you for watching, for thinking critically, and for being part of this community. I'm your host, and I'll see you in the next deep dive. Remember to leave your thoughts below. Tragic fate. Hot update. Did Josh Duggar skip Anna's baby number 7 birth? Drops breaking news. That's the headline screaming across the internet right now. A single question, loaded with implication, splitting a family's most intimate moment wide open for public consumption. But what's the real story behind the clickbait? Welcome, everyone, to a deep dive where rumor meets reality, where headlines obscure the human story, and where the narrative is never as simple as it seems. I'm your host, and today, we're unpacking the layers of a media frenzy that centers on one birth announcement and the avalanche of speculation it triggered. Stick with me, because this is about more than just a tabloid headline. This is about the machinery of modern scandal, the echo chambers of online judgment, and a family that has lived their entire lives in the unforgiving spotlight. The news broke, as it so often does, not through a formal statement, but in fragments. A distant relative's cryptic post. A blurred photo from what might have been a hospital parking lot. The inevitable, hushed whispers on online forums dedicated to dissecting every move of the Duggar family. Then came the official, joyous announcement: Anna Duggar had welcomed her 7th child. A new life, a precious soul entering the world. And immediately, the digital sleuths got to work. The timeline was pieced together. Josh Duggar's known location, his legal circumstances, the dates, all were cross-referenced with the fervor of a detective novel. The central, burning question emerged and was instantly framed as a damning indictment: was he there? The clickbait titles wrote themselves. Josh abandons Anna in labor. Baby's birth met with stunning snub. Inside the heartbreak, Anna goes it alone. Each version more definitive than the last, each painting a picture of a deliberate, cruel absence. The comment sections became battlegrounds. One side voiced outrage, condemning the absence as the ultimate act of betrayal, a final piece of evidence in a long saga of letdowns. The other side, or at least a more cautious faction, urged restraint. "We don't know the facts," they wrote. "The legal system has strict rules. There could be a dozen reasons." But in the age of instant judgment, nuance is the first casualty. The absence of a confirmed fact was filled not with silence, but with the loudest, most emotionally charged narrative. So, let's pause the speculation. Let's rewind. To understand this moment, this single question about a birth, we have to understand the road that led here. The Duggar family first entered the public eye as a curiosity, then a phenomenon. Their show, 19 Kids and Counting, presented a universe of matching clothes, strict courtship rules, and a life built on specific religious principles. They were, to many, either an inspiring testament to family values or a fascinating case study in insular culture. Josh, as the eldest son, was often positioned as a representative, a young man groomed for leadership within that world. He married Anna Keller in 2008, a union presented as a fairy tale within their faith's framework. The babies started arriving, each one a celebrated milestone for the audience that felt they knew them. But the pristine public image began to develop cracks. First, there were the acknowledged past mistakes, the wrongdoing from his youth that was addressed within the family and later became a subject of media reports. The family's show was cancelled. Then, Josh re-emerged in a spin-off, still with Anna by his side, attempting to navigate a public redemption arc. They presented a united front, a marriage working through profound challenges under the watchful eye of their faith and their followers. Anna, in particular, became a figure of intense scrutiny and polarized opinion, seen as either a victim of circumstance or a paragon of unwavering, perhaps misguided, loyalty. Then came the legal earthquake. In April 2021, Josh Duggar was arrested by federal authorities. The charges were grave, centering on the receipt and possession of child sexual abuse material. The public narrative shattered completely. This was no longer about past teenage transgressions or reality show drama, this was about the federal criminal justice system. The trial was a media spectacle, detailing forensic evidence and dark digital footprints. In December 2021, the verdict came, guilty on all counts. The subsequent sentencing in 2022 sealed his fate for the foreseeable future, over 12 years in federal prison. This is the inescapable, overwhelming context for the birth of baby number 7. Josh Duggar is a federal inmate. His life is not his own, it is governed by the rules of the Bureau of Prisons, by court orders, by the sheer logistical and legal brick wall that separates an inmate from the free world. The question, was he there, cannot be answered through the lens of personal choice or marital devotion alone. It is a question that first must navigate a labyrinth of regulations. Could a federal inmate attend the birth of his child? The short, stark answer is, almost certainly not. The BOP has protocols for temporary releases, known as furloughs, but they are exceedingly rare and granted only under specific, compelling circumstances, such as the death of an immediate family member or to participate in a judicial proceeding. The birth of a child, while a monumental personal event, does not typically qualify. The security risks, the logistical costs, the staffing required, it presents an insurmountable hurdle. Furthermore, even if an extraordinary exception were theoretically possible, the nature of Josh Duggar's conviction would make the approval of such a request virtually impossible. The court and the system would see an immense, unacceptable risk. So, the breaking news implied by the clickbait isn't news at all. It's a foregone conclusion dictated by the sentence of the court. His absence wasn't a choice made in a hospital hallway, it was a consequence decided in a courtroom months earlier. Yet, the framing of the story as a snub or a dramatic skip personalizes it, makes it about a failing of character rather than the impersonal execution of justice. It transforms a legal reality into a soap opera plot point. This is where Anna Duggar's position becomes the focal point of immense, and often uncomfortable, public sympathy and analysis. By all public accounts, she has stood by her husband. She attended the trial. She has spoken of her commitment to her marriage covenant. The announcement of her 7th pregnancy, coming after his conviction and sentencing, solidified her stance in the eyes of the world. For her critics, it was a baffling, even infuriating act of allegiance. For her supporters within her faith community, it might be seen as the ultimate testament of grace and commitment. The birth, then, is not just a medical event. It is a powerful symbol. It is life insistently moving forward in the shadow of profound consequence. It is a mother bringing a new child into a family structure that is, by any measure, fractured and under immense strain. The baby's arrival is a private joy undoubtedly mingled with complex grief, for the present circumstances, for the future that will look nothing like what she might have once imagined. Every photo she may eventually share, every detail about the baby's name or weight, will be analyzed for clues about her state of mind, for messages about Josh, for signs of regret or resilience. And what of the other children? The 6 older siblings who now have a new brother or sister, but whose father is absent not for a business trip, but for a sentence that spans more years than they can currently comprehend. They are living a reality that is filtered through their mother's strength, their extended family's support, and the ever-present, low hum of public notoriety. Their story is the one often forgotten in the headline chase, the long-term, quiet impact on innocent lives. The media's role in this entire saga is worth examining. From the initial reality show that packaged their lives for consumption, to the investigative journalism that uncovered past secrets, to the tabloid frenzy that now dissects every social media post and rumor, the Duggar family has existed as a public commodity. The hot update culture treats their life events as episodes in an ongoing series. The birth of a child is reduced to a cliffhanger, will he or won't he, when the answer was legally predetermined. This cycle does something profound, it dehumanizes. It turns real pain, real moral complexity, real legal outcomes, into digestible, emotionally charged content designed for shares and comments. Let's also consider the broader community around them. Their specific religious upbringing, with its emphasis on patriarchy, female submission, and the absolute sanctity of marriage, provides the framework through which Anna, in particular, is making her choices. To judge her actions without attempting to understand that framework is to miss the entire point. She is not operating from a secular playbook of individualism and self-actualization, she is following a spiritual roadmap that commands a specific kind of endurance. Whether one agrees with that roadmap is a separate debate, but to ignore its power is to analyze her life in a foreign language. So, where does this leave us now, in the wake of this birth announcement? The breaking news has been consumed. The clicks have been registered. But the actual story continues, far away from the headlines. It continues in a federal prison, where a man is serving a sentence meant to punish and isolate. It continues in a home, where a mother is recovering from childbirth while managing a household of 7 children, likely with the help of her extensive family network. It continues in the hearts and minds of those children, for whom today's tabloid headline is tomorrow's painful digital footprint of their own childhood. The saga of the Duggars is, in many ways, a perfect storm of American fascination. It touches on religion, reality TV, crime, justice, gender roles, and the relentless hunger for content. It raises uncomfortable questions about forgiveness, accountability, and the limits of loyalty. The birth of this 7th child to Anna is not an endpoint, nor is it a salacious twist. It is the next chapter in a human story of staggering complexity. And this is where we must remember our own role as the audience. We are not merely passive consumers of this drama. With every click on a sensationalized headline, with every speculative comment, with every share of an unverified rumor, we fuel the machine. We tell media outlets what we want: more intrusion, more simplification, more judgment. We participate in the commodification of a family's most painful moments. The real tragic fate might not be the one in the clickbait. The deeper tragedy could be the environment we've created where a woman's experience of childbirth becomes a public referendum on her life choices, where a child's first breath is met with a torrent of online noise about their father's crimes, where legal consequences are rewritten as personal melodrama. The story continues, not because of a hot update, but because the consequences of actions, both Josh Duggar's and our own as a culture, ripple outward for years. This isn't just about the Duggars. It's about how we consume pain, how we demand narratives of clear villains and victims, and how we struggle to sit with ambiguity. Anna Duggar's life is the very definition of ambiguity, bound by faith, shattered by crime, committed to a path few can understand, and now cradling a new life in the midst of it all. That's not a headline, it's a human condition. And as this story inevitably continues, with appeals, with prison visits, with the children growing up, with future milestones all filtered through this reality, the question for us is, how will we engage with it? Will we seek the quick hit of moral certainty from a sensationalized title, or will we acknowledge the profound, messy, and deeply uncomfortable complexities that defy easy answers? The narrative doesn't end here. In fact, this is merely a moment of pause in a story that will unfold for years to come. What will the future hold for this seventh child, born into a legacy of fame and infamy? How will the family dynamics evolve as the older children grow into teenagers and young adults, with full access to the digital record of their family's very public unraveling? What does the path forward look like for Anna, navigating the immense practical and emotional challenges of single-handedly raising 7 children, all while maintaining a connection to a man in prison for a heinous crime? And what of Josh Duggar himself, facing over a decade behind bars? How will time, reflection, and the strict reality of prison life alter the man at the center of this storm? These are the questions that will drive the next chapters, questions no clickbait headline can adequately contain. The legal appeals process alone is a slow-moving saga that will generate its own cycles of news and speculation. Every family photo, every social media post from relatives, every snippet of information from the prison system will be parsed for meaning. The court of public opinion will remain in perpetual session, delivering new verdicts with every development. The children, once the backdrop of a cheerful reality show, will grow into individuals who must reckon with their father's actions and their family's unique, painful place in the cultural spotlight. Their journeys, their struggles, their triumphs, their choices, will become the unexplored sequel to today's headlines. This is a story with no clean ending, a real-life narrative where resolution may be elusive, and where understanding requires looking beyond the easy drama of a single missed birth to the enduring, complicated years that follow. If you found this deep dive into the story behind the headlines compelling, then you need to be part of this conversation. The narratives that shape our culture are too important to be left to clickbait alone. We are building a community here that looks deeper, that asks the harder questions, and that seeks understanding over outrage. So, take action right now. Hit that like button if you want more content that goes beyond the sensational. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because we will continue to follow complex stories like this, providing context and analysis you won't find anywhere else. Your subscription tells YouTube this is the kind of thoughtful content we need more of. Most importantly, I want to hear from you. This is a story that sparks intense debate and reflection. What are your thoughts on the media's role in private family tragedies? Where is the line between public interest and exploitation? How do we, as an audience, consume these stories more responsibly? Drop your insights, your perspectives, and your questions in the comments below. Let's have a respectful, substantive discussion. Share this video with someone who engages with media critically. Every share, every thoughtful comment, helps build a better dialogue. The story continues. And by subscribing, you're ensuring you have a front row seat to the analysis that matters, not just the headlines that shock. Join us. Subscribe now. Let's keep digging deeper, together.